back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in as always, and a massive thank you for all your support, likes, comments, subscriptions, all very, very much appreciated. Anyway, it's midweek waffle time. Yippee! So, been thinking about this one long and hard. Someone on the channel asked me probably 2-3 months ago if I had any tips for looking for a Subaru Forester, things to look out for. So I sent him, obviously I was more than happy to oblige. I do like a good waffle. So put together a lengthy guide and emailed it to him and said, you know, oh, I've also been thinking about doing a video about this. And he said, well, I think this is a good basis. And I was like, well, thanks. That gave me the encouragement I needed. Anyway, so I've been thinking about it a lot. I've put some notes down, they're on a notepad, so I can rip them off once I have covered those topics. I'll probably memorise most of it. Anyway, and also I'm going to do a little change to the format. So standard, me in car being filmed by GoPro, no change there. But been watching some other car review channels on YouTube and really enjoyed a guy's video I was watching the other day where he'd edited all the low spots. So any thinking, which I'm aware I do, umming, ahhing, I might do that sometimes. So any of that, cutting that out and just keeping the info bang, 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 bang. So my standard ethos for the channel was me, candid, unedited, the end. But I'm also open to change and evolving with the channel, and obviously I'm trying to grow the channel, so I'm gonna slice and dice it and make it quicker and slicker. Info. Who knows? We shall see. It might be good. Anyway, so Subaru Forester Sti buying guide, and look, I mean, this is specifically for the facelift model. I'm 99.9% sure that most of the things I say will refer to that model, will be relative to that model also. But I obviously own the facelift model. Anyway, so, and this isn't going to be, you know, how do you go and kick tyres, how do you go and look over a car, what things should you be looking out for, things like that you can Google, you know, check its history, check its MOT history, get an HPI report, check that it's got full service history, check the mileage, do a test drive. If you can't get a test drive, get an independent report, those things. So we're not going to cover that in great detail. They're not necessarily Subaru specific, they're more just going to buy a car specific. So my number one tip for buying a Subaru Forester Sti in this country, first phase, join the Facebook group, because the Facebook group is just an amazing repository for finding information out about Foresters. And if you use the little, once you've joined, if you use the little magnifying glass search bar, the search function in the forums, you will probably find all the information and discussions related to exactly what I'm going to talk about in the next, I'd like to say 5 minutes, but probably not even going to be 10, is it? It's going to be more like 15. There's a heck of a queue on the way home today, so let's just cover off everything. So join a Facebook group, UK Forester Owners Club or Forester Sti Owners Club. Excellent, really, really helpful resource and a lovely group of people. Anyway, so one thing one of the first things, I joined the Facebook club group after buying mine. I just bought mine, it come up for sale around the corner from where I worked, so I could go and have a little cheeky squiz during my lunch break, and I'd been fancying one for ages, so I just bought it. The end. First one I saw, I quite like that, money was right, I'll have it. I'm a little bit impulsive, and that's what I did. But it was for good money, so you know, I was lucky enough to get one before the price went mental. Anyway, that aside, upon reading people's advice on the forums, it would appear the best thing to do is get a fresh import. because that means he spent the majority of his life in Japan, and Japan don't have salt in the roads, therefore the car's much less likely to have rusted underneath. Better still, you want a fresh import that has just come off the boat, and the import company's got photographs of the underneath. Then they have gone through the under-sealing process, and it's been under-sealed, and they've got photographs of that on the listing as well, and it's also been mapped to UK fuel, 99 RON Shell V-Power, and you've got a printout saying it's doing 300 brake, 310 brake, 320 brake, 330 brake, etc, etc, which I discussed in one of my other videos. So that's kind of like the holy grail, really. You're looking at top money, but you get a nice car. So yeah, fresh import, photographs of the underneath when it come in, so you know it's been well looked after and it's not rotten already, and then it's been undersealed by a reputable underseal company, and you've got photographic evidence to prove, and a map and some basic underlying mods, you know, cat black exhaust, air filter, Walbro 255 fuel pump, job done. Anyway, also worth doing a quick Google of Japanese auction vehicle grading system. Grade 5 is almost perfect and less than 31,000 miles, so that would cost you a fortune. Grade 4.5 is very good, and that is less than 61,000 miles, and you see quite a lot of them come up on eBay, 15 grand ish for that sort of thing. Or grade 4, overall good, maybe some paint or minor electrical faults. Then they have an interior grading system. A is immaculate, B is very good, and C needs a clean and maybe wear and tear. So, you know, if you find a 4.5, very good, less than 61,000 miles, and an A for interior, you are looking at a honey. And, you know, it gives you that peace of mind that you're going to buy a car, it's going to be perfecto mundo. It'll probably cost you a fortune, but they're holding their money at the moment, and you probably won't have to do much to it in the foreseeable future. So I didn't memorize all the grades, just do a quick Google of the grades and have a read about that, so then when you look on Facebook, on eBay, you understand what it means when it says it's a 4B or 4.5A or 4C, bit ratty, but worth having a little read up on that. So money wise, what you're looking at money in the UK today, July 2023, you're looking at 10 grand, 10,000 UK pounds and upwards for a respectable Subaru Forester STI. That's what they're making at the moment. In my humble opinion, mileage isn't humongously important as long as you've got full service history and it's been getting oil and filter every 5,000 miles, and you can tell that it's been well looked after. Obviously, if it's got 200,000 miles, you've got no history, walk away. But you want some evidence that it's been looked after. So, as I say, oil and filter every 5,000 miles. You want some evidence of that. It must be mapped for UK fuel, so there needs to be some evidence that that's been done. I mean, this goes without saying, but it's unlikely to have been imported and then never mapped for UK fuel, because that would just be ridiculous. Anyway, but nice to have some kind of evidence that the previous owner's been running it on 99 RON V-Power or alternatives, and preferably a dyno printer. So, just a couple of little things about spec, really. I mean, I've never really spoke hugely about spec on the channel. So 60, they hit 60 in under 5 seconds. I think you see some places say 4.6. It's a manual transmission, so it depends upon how much you care about the clutch, how much you care about the drivetrain, how much you cherish your diff, your tyres, and whether you're willing to launch it just for the sake of testing it. But I mean, I don't ever really do any full bore launches personally, but yeah, they do get a high call. They do get a high call. Top speed is only really, well, it's not infinite, but top speed is kind of limited by the aerodynamics or lack thereof of the car. So, you know, they're easy to 100, 110, 120. I think they're geared for significantly more like over 150 when you look at the power and the gearing of the 6-speed manual transmission gearbox. I think I saw the video about the green Subaru Forester going around the green hell, I think it was called. Fantastic YouTube video. Anyway, I'm pretty sure I was watching it the other day with great enthusiasm. As always, I've watched it loads, one of my favourites, and I'm pretty sure they were getting close to off the clock in kmh, and I'm doing some calculations while I was watching it. I think they were doing maybe 150, which I was very impressed with. It was great. Still going on about performance, it is a genuinely quick car, in my opinion. You know, it's not as fast as a modern M3, M2, well, I might be able to have a play with an M1 35i, or them. On paper they're fairly similar, but again, this is a 15, 16, 17-year-old car. You can play with fast stuff for sure, and I have and do and thoroughly enjoy it. But you know what I'm saying, a lot of cars these days, you know, you'll get Teslas that do 60 in 3.5 seconds. Boring. Nowhere near as fun as a Subaru Forester, and they don't sound anywhere near as nice, but they are that quick. That's that. So it's funny actually, I've had a little tussle here and there with Teslas. I always find that quite an interesting game to play, and depending on what mode they got it in, depends upon how stratospherically quick they get off the line. However, one of these, you know, permanent all drive, significantly lighter than a Tesla, and significantly lighter than a lot of modern stuff with hideous amounts of boring technology in it. When it comes to twisties, depending upon the size of your you know what kahoonies, these stick like glue, and they're fabulous in the twisties. So yeah, that's that. It's a genuinely quick car. I think we all know that. Anyone looking at one, you know that. They handle exceptionally well for their size. So I think they're a little over 1,500 kilograms. They look big, they feel big inside, tons of headroom, fair amount of boot space, reasonable space in the back, not brilliant leg room, but it's okay. But you can carry loads of luggage. Anyway, but yeah, they handle great. As I said in one of my other videos, Subaru somehow have really hit the mark with making a big heavy car like a barge with the aerodynamics of a wardrobe have the turn-in of a Fiesta, and you know, it feels much smaller than it actually is. We've covered that one. They surprise a lot of modern cars. Porsche Cayenne, that's one of my favourite things to, I think I read in the press, or when I was researching Forester STIs, it said that they were, Subaru made them because they wanted to build a rival for Range Rover Sports or Land Rover Sports, can't remember. You know, that autobiography thing, square box thing, pretty nice really. Yeah, those, and also a rival for Porsche Cayennes, a la Subaru Forester Sti. Sweet. They put a smile on your face. That's true. That is true. They make you smile all the time. Personal opinion, it is a proper driver's car. That's what I'm saying. It's a proper driver's car. You know, you've got a combustion engine. It's got the sound, it's got the rawness, it's got the grunt. What more could you want? It's got bobbly suspension. So the minute you drive it, you think, I'm in a rally car. Which I'm sure many Subaru owners, or maybe just before they bought them, for, or maybe their first test drive, or maybe for the first month of having one. I don't know. They are comfy, spacious, and I think, in my very limited experience of cars, I've not owned loads of different brands, but I think they're very well built. It's not a BMW, it's not a Mercedes, it's not an Audi. Similarly, it's not a Ford. There. That's my grading. Here's another little thing. They are really, really nice to drive, and I mentioned this in one of my other videos about what the overall driving experience was like. They are just lovely to drive. They do slow, good, moderate, good, fast, excellent. That's my humble opinion. I don't know why. Someone commented on my other video where I mentioned this, and they're saying maybe it's the smoothness of the Boxer engine, and 2.5 litre AVCS turbo Boxer arrangement. Very, very smooth, very smooth. Just a lovely smooth engine at all revs really, which is fascinating. Gearbox, wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Lovely positive shift. We won't get too much into this. You do get floppy knob. Subarus come from floppy knob. When I was watching reviews, when I was looking at buying one, people are saying, oh, you always know it's a Subaru when they start up and the gearbox, the gear sticks aren't wobbling around. Anyway, worn rubbers in the linkages, and you can go to AS Racing, White Line, Slow Boy Racing, is it? Car Boy, something like that. Anyway, you get an upgraded bushing kit. Positive gearbox selector kit, I think it's called, and upgraded gearbox mount if you want. I did as well, and that gets rid of the wobbliness and makes the gear selection department feel even better than it was. Brakes are maybe just slightly above average, but they're not great. But then you've got 300 plus brake horsepower in a really big car. There you go. They look great, gold Brembos, but they could be better. We can maybe talk about how to improve them without changing the whole system for another video. All-wheel drive system is perfection. The end. The all-wheel drive system's good. It is good. Very, very reliable car. I spoke about that in one of my other videos. I mean, I hate to say I've now done 65,000 miles in mine. Poor old girl. And it's never let me down. Touch wood. Never let me down. You just unlock it, turn the key, go places. I've had some codes, I've got a scanner, I've either reset them or attended to them, or it's just been some weird little random blip. Something's gone wrong in the matrix, that kind of thing. But other than that, sensational. Expect to spend money on them. I think this goes without saying. What was mine? 2007, it's 2023, so mine's 17 years old, and even if, well, unless you buy one from someone like me, well, I just change everything. I've always been, I promised myself, having done this with a Fiesta, that I wouldn't do this with a car, but I've always just changed everything. Even if something looks a tiny bit worn, that's it, change it, just change it. But when I got it, there were things that maybe weren't quite as well maintained as I would have liked. But I am incredibly fussy. But yeah, expect to spend money on them. So it's good to make friends. I didn't write this on my notepads, but it was on my other notes. Make friends with a mechanic. A good, reliable, honest, reasonably priced mechanic that is willing to go the extra mile for you whilst caring for your modern classic. That's what I'm going to call it. I don't know whether that's good or bad. I mean, I don't think they're not exactly modern anymore. That's one thing about the car, actually. The STI, I know you could get like a Forester XT, and they have quite a lot of mod cons. The STI does not. Rev counter is the centerpiece of the dash layout, or the instrument cluster. Speed is not that important. Fuel, not enormously important. Mine's partially covered by a boost gauge. So in the order of importance, revs, boost, speed and fuel, always down. If you can't see the needle below the back behind the boost gauge, you need more. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, that, spend money on maintenance, spend money on fuel and oil too. Every 5,000 miles, good quality oil inside them. They do like that. Parts are relatively expensive in my opinion. Now, you know, probably like my earlier comparison, they're not Merc, Audi or BMW money, and they're not Ford money, probably somewhere in between. It's like everything, you know, our manufacturers are mad. You know, window gussets, $69.95, winner, lovely jubbly. I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but there's certain elements that if you need that done, it's a pain in the bum and expensive, either because the part's expensive or to get to it is a nightmare, and therefore the hourly cost or the cumulative hours and therefore garage cost is expensive. Back to tips. Check the rear wheel arches for rust. So these are prone for going on the back up arches, particularly up inside round the strut mounts, strut tops, etc, etc, and they go from the inside outwards, and the arches and petrol cap, so that whole lot. A job for me soon. I don't really care. They weren't rusty when I got it. Like I say, I've done 65,000 miles in the old girl, and she's due a little splash of paint on the outside to make her back to perfect. So yeah, have a look for that. Look for repairs. I mean, that's not rocket science. Take a little tiny pocket torch. You can get like a Cree torch off of Amazon for sort of 10-20 quid. Take that with you in your pocket or on a keychain, and just go over the paint and see if you can see differences between panels. Manufacturer paint should be flat as a pancake and as flat as a mirror, and any sprayed parts, you're looking for like dimpled paint, orange peel, that sort of thing, mismatches in colour, but it's not really that hard to see. And look, these are like an enthusiast's car these days, so chances are you'll get there and it'll have been ceramic or polished or have some form of coating, or maybe they've had some respray or a machine polish, etc, etc, but just have a good look around the paint to make sure all the panels match. It must be undersealed. We covered that at the start. Fresh import, undersealed, job done. Suspension is hard in these. Seats are nice, nothing specific to look out for in that area. These are three things that I think are quite important in terms of servicing. So check when the clutch was last changed, because with a 300 brake horsepower plus car, it's likely to have a XZE pink box clutch. They're sort of £300-400, and then £300-400 to fit. So it'd be nice to know when it was last done. Same applies to belts. A full belt kit, Gates belt kit with tensioners, water pump, gaskets, aircon belt and power steering and alternator belt, you're looking at say 275, 300 quid, maybe a tiny bit more, and then probably the same again to fit. Book time is 4 hours, but most garages that are going to take the time and do it right, you're probably looking between 4 and 6 or 4 and 8 hours. So those things. Clutch, you'd like to know when that was last done. Belts, you'd like to know when that was last done. I couldn't say how long clutches last. That's about as long as a piece of string. I had mine when I first got the car, and 60,000 miles, still great. Belts, I think, are every 50, 60,000 or every 4 years, I think, but that, you'd have to check that. You can just Google it. Mine are due soon. And check plugs. Just know when they were last done, really. Pretty normal sundry item, and they're not enormously expensive, but they are a right pain in the bum to fit. You always see on the forum how long they take and how inaccessible they are, and even my mechanic says, oh, it's a pain, just a horrible job. And right, we're getting near the end. We mentioned this very briefly. I'll say it again. The engine is incredibly smooth. Incredibly smooth. And here's one, the penultimate, really, my penultimate statement on it. Don't let Ringland rule your life. So whenever you're reading about, oh, should I get a 2.5, should I get a 2? I've heard 2s are more reliable, I've heard 2.5s are prone to head gasket failures, and Ringland is chocolate pistons. Anyway, you can read about that. When I bought mine, I was like, well, look, I've got 10 grand to throw at a car. I'm going to daily it. I'm going to cherish it. I'm going to love it. I'm going to enjoy it. If anything goes wrong, I'll have to have it rebuilt. The end. So, there you have it. I read about Ringland, etc, etc, and I shouldn't choose too many topics that become, well, because I like to study things and read up on them so that I feel confident that I'm saying the right thing. But yeah, well, I'll add Ringland to the list. Maybe I'll talk about that after the other one. Why no wide open throttle in 5th and 6th. That I've also been putting off. Oof, I've been reading a lot about that. Eek. Anyway, so yeah, don't let Ringland rule your life. Read some basic guides, watch my video about top tips for how to care for your Subaru, warm it up before giving it full boost, cool it down if you've been on a spirited drive, always use V-Power 99 ROM fuel, use good oils, get regular oil and filter changes, etc, etc. Little bit of mechanical sympathy goes a long way, blah blah blah. But yeah, just don't let Ringland rule your life, you know, just enjoy the car, do regular checks, oil leaks, seams around the heads, things like that, just normal stuff, but just enjoy it. Enjoy it every day. But the funniest thing about these is that I remember when I was first going to buy one, and I showed my missus and said I really want one. She went, "You're not having one of them up the drive." How rude. I mean, I love the box. Every time you lock the box and walk away, you turn around and look at the box and think, oh, it's so good. It is so good. I genuinely could not recommend it enough. So enjoy the ride, enjoy it every day. They genuinely really make you smile. Anyway, I hope that is valuable and some interesting insight into what to look out for if buying a Subaru Forester. Obviously taking for, I didn't get to test drive mine either actually. The guy took me out in it. He was an old bloke, but that was enough. It was just great. I knew I had to have it, so I just went back with the money and bought it. There, and here I am, 4.5 years later, loving it more than ever and giving it a persona on YouTube. Who knew? Anyway, hope that was interesting. Hope you're enjoying the content. I hope you enjoy the new slimmed down version. I'm going to go back home, slice this into a million bits, cut out all my ums and ahs and pauses and brain thinking, and yeah, please smash that like button. Feel free to comment or ask questions and let's have a discussion. I do love a discussion. Smash that bell button so you get notifications when I post up new content, and there'll be more coming at the weekend. Alright, thanks for watching as always. Take care. See you everyone. Bye bye.